And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world. It is Bitcoin Ben here for the morning. What in the pluck is going on in cryptocurrencies and all around the world? My friends, I've had conversations with several new friends that I have met since my trip to El Salvador, the savior country. I got friends in New York right now that are basically blowing up my phone, telling me that they are getting calls from people they've never heard of ever before, that they have interest from Wall Street that they've never had before, that Fidelity is offering the Bitcoin to their general retail accounts, and that the interest is unbelievable, that the level of knowledge of the general public is growing at such a rate. So what I did was I did a little research on my show's numbers. I haven't checked my show's watch numbers in, God, I can't even tell you, probably, I'd say maybe 6 months. I didn't realize how many people watch my show on all of the platforms I'm on. I'm on over 40 different platforms, and my numbers over the last 6 months have jumped tremendously. And I guess I didn't recognize it because I wasn't watching it really. Oh yes, please smash the likes. And this is what I want you guys to really wrap your heads around. Share, and this is not me trying to grow bigger. This is me and you guys trying to help your friends. They need to grasp really what's going on, the shift that, I mean, we have Federal Reserve presidents actually talking out against the Federal Reserve issuing a central bank cryptocurrency. One of the Federal Reserve presidents out of, I think it was Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota. He flat out said, why would the American people want this? Why do they need it? Unless, and this is what he said, this is the president of the Minneapolis Fed saying, unless the government is using it as a tracking tool and a manipulation tool, there's no use for it. And this is hearing that from him is amazing. Because what it shows you is even in the bureaucracies that we know have an agenda, there are people who are not anti-American. That there are people that are realizing the agenda of it all. And this is actually part of the great awakening of the population. Most of the bureaucracy is regular people, right? Most of the bureaucracy, they clock in, they clock out, they go home. These are not anti-American people. They just got a job. And what they're starting to notice is, well, hang on a second. We have inflation skyrocketing. We have the friggin' markets crumbling. There's no place to put cash unless you are investing directly into a company. And I'm not talking about going through the markets or trading on Robinhood or anything like. I mean, unless you are directly investing into a company and gaining equity in that company directly, there's no other place except putting it in Bitcoin or Litecoin. Or look at the price of DIVI lately. It's literally doubled in, or more than friggin' doubled in what, a couple days? Look at the price of silver over the last 60 days. It's up a dollar. It's up $1.50 in the last month. People are starting to recognize that cryptos, especially Bitcoin, as much as they are trying to downplay cryptos, it's not working. You have little dips in the Bitcoin, but we're right around $20,000 consistently, while you have New York losing 1,200 points in one day. 2 days ago, the markets are getting killed, right? Yeah, it's all I've heard from all of my friends up in New York, up in oh God, where's that one guy from? Damn it, I can't remember. I think New Jersey. It's the interest in Bitcoin has flipped. All of a sudden, something in the last 2 weeks has tripped people into Bitcoin. They're starting to notice it, and they're starting to run. And the best part I heard was one of my boys up in New York said he has big players in the bond market looking at Bitcoin and looking hard. I mean, they're one of my friends. Let me give you a little history. One of my friends up in New York works for a company that does what are called projection reports, where they people and brokerage houses hire them to do a projection report on a commodity or on a company or something like that. In the last 2 weeks, the amount of requested projection reports on Bitcoin has quadrupled in 2 weeks. That is people wanting to know, and what he's hearing. We have people already talking about the halving that's coming in like a year and a half or something. They're already trying to price in the halving of Bitcoin. That, for that level of people to be talking about the halving in a year and a half, those are HODL people. These are people, long projections. We're talking 3 year, we're talking 5 year. That's when you're asking about front running the halving in 2 years. You're going to hold past that event. You're anticipating, and I know what they're anticipating. They're anticipating the price rise, and it's going to be friggin' epic. The price rise, historically, the Bitcoin goes parabolic about a year and a half after the halving. So we got people front running now because of the amount of money in the system right now. They are flush with cash, and they're anticipating a 4-year hold from now. And they're seeing dollar signs. They're seeing dollar signs like we know. If you hold friggin' Bitcoin for 4 years, you've never lost a dime. In fact, the 4-year average is if you've held Bitcoin at any point, right? When you've held it for 4 years, you have at least quadrupled your money on 4 years. And that's with the dip. So what these people are realizing, and please like and subscribe the channel, whatever platform you're watching. These people are learning about El Salvador. These people are learning, and now I'm going to squirrel off a little bit. My guy up in New York could not be more excited about what Michael Saylor and a couple of other big players are doing. Remember, Michael Saylor left MicroStrategies and is now opening a cryptocurrency company. My boy up in New York, and shout out to you, brother. Shout out. Thank you for the info. He saying the company Michael Saylor and a few of his, wealthy friends that they're launching is going to be epic. I mean, epic. And from what I hear, it is it's something like uh, grayscale ish, where they are a company that is strictly Bitcoin, and the shares of the company will represent one friggin' Bitcoin. Right? This is blowing my mind. And they're going to launch a venture capital fund, but it's not going to be a venture capital fund because it's only going to buy Bitcoin. That's it. So they're basically launching a holdings company for, now this is the key, for big purchases. I mean, unless you have $50 million, they ain't even going to look at you. All right? So they're talking, and these numbers are blowing my mind. They're talking that when he launches this company, that the initial capitalization of the company is around $800 billion. Think about that. $800 billion in the first capitalization of the company. Now, this is word on the street. This is my boy up in New York. My boy up in New York has nailed it several times. He's, let's just say, he could throw a rock and hit Wall Street. That's how close his office is on all of this. So we got Michael Saylor launching a company, the equivalent of grayscale. And Michael said he's a billionaire. He knows all the other billionaires. They're basically making an EFT or what do you call it? Is it EFT? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm dyslexic. An ETF. Yeah, an ETF. Like Greystone is, except they're going after their, because you have to remember, right? You have to remember, what has Michael Saylor been doing for the last year? Presentations in front of corporations, educating them on friggin' Bitcoin. That's all he's done. If you go to www.hope.com, you'll see the presentations that he's been doing to all these executives and all these corporations. And these executives and these corporations and university endowments. That was something else he said. These friggin' university endowments are going full scale towards this, but they can't deal in holding the Bitcoin. That's what his company, right? Exactly, Robert Dunn. Well, I'm going to show that. Yeah. Saylor showing how corporations can use PTC as their reserve balance sheet asset. Bingo. Bingo. And he's been doing that for the last year, educating these corporations, educating these businessmen on the utility because it's an asset. It's a tangible asset that these guys can leverage up and use the equity of their companies and leverage it. He's showing them, and when I say this, you guys will get it. He's showing them, he's showing them how to leverage the equity in their corporations without doing a corporate buyback of their own shares. See, when you do a corporate buyback, that looks negatively in some people's eyes. That looks negative. But when you buy Bitcoin and you leverage your company's perceived equity and you purchase more Bitcoin, it improves the value of the balance sheet, not the share price. The share price it fluctuates way too much, and it's been dropping like a rock. 1,200 points just 2 days ago. I mean, the market got the shit slapped out of it. And he's teaching these corporations how to leverage the perceived equity and literally increase the value of their corporation using their balance sheet. Because remember, the Bitcoin is recognized as an asset in the balance sheet. So that's the equivalent of owning land or owning machinery. But there's no depreciation rate like machinery. See, if a corporation improves their machinery, that's good. That's a write-off. That's one good write-off. But then they have the depreciation of the asset, which is the machinery. And this is the key, over the 4-year period or 5-year projected period, that machinery only has depreciation as a loss on their balance sheet, while with Bitcoin, they have an anticipated appreciation on their balance sheet. So let me say this in a different way. Corporations are realizing that asset value is dropping, like land, uh, uh, shares. All of this is dropping. But the Bitcoin, if they hold it in their 5-year plan, they know that historically it has at least quadrupled in 4 years. It's a no-brainer. These freaking corporations are like, okay, so I can hold cash, lose my ass on inflation, or I can buy Bitcoin, hold it on my balance sheet as a long-term asset like land, and the historical appreciation blows land out of the water. Land's historical appreciation is about 4.5, maybe 5%. While the Bitcoin's historical 5-year appreciation is quadrupled. Why would you hold land? But what they're realizing, what they can do is leverage. If their corporation owns land, they can leverage that land, get a loan against that land, take that money at a low interest rate, freaking actually purchase Bitcoin, put it on their put it in their treasury on their books as a long-term asset, and take their hands off the steering wheel. It's it's a no-brainer. And that's what Michael Saylor's been telling people and showing people is you have to look at historical trends. And now the Bitcoin is a favored asset. That's a big deal. Remember J.P. Morgan. I think it was J.P. Morgan who said that Bitcoin is more favorable than land. Raise your hand over here in the chat if you remember, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, J.P. Morgan put out a report and they said that Bitcoin is a more favorable asset than land. Do you know what that means, folks? More favorable asset is a big deal on balance sheets of corporations. That is a huge deal, because now that shows that these corporations and these big players have been killing it on Bitcoin. I guarantee, and I know for a fact, especially over in Asia. Did you see how China? Now remember, it's outlawed in China. China just entered into the top 10 purchasers of Bitcoin again. The Chinese people are going around the barriers and buying Bitcoin because they know China, with this whole shutdown bullcrap, They know, oh shit, we're in deep trouble. They're buying Bitcoin illegally in China at such a level. They are now in the top 10 of purchasing Bitcoin again. They left the top 10 like 3 years ago. They're back, folks. They are back in a big way. China, and they didn't just slide into the top 10. Oh no, they kicked the plucking door down. They're like, we are back and we are buying. So let me run a word from our sponsor, CALIX Solutions, crypto-only laptop, and then I'll be right back.
Are you buying and selling cryptos on the same laptop that you're using to browse the internet, read your email, and visit social media sites? If so, you're exposing your cryptos to theft. Whenever you're online, you're at risk of getting hacked and having your identity stolen. How would you feel if someone stole all of your cryptos? What would that do to your finances? Guard your cryptos with a safe and secure laptop from CALIX Solutions. Each laptop is set up just for you and your cryptos, and then we walk you through exactly how it works. Don't risk the security of your cryptos. Order a crypto laptop from CALIX Solutions now to secure your crypto future. Learn more at calixsolutions.io.
Okay. Now, my boy Phil C, always on top of it. China now says that BTC legal to trade, illegal for purchases. See, even the Chinese government is like, okay, shit's getting bad. You can't use it to purchase anything, but you can invest in it. They are opening the door for their people. Because remember, the Chinese Communist Party, they're just people too. They're getting their asses handed to them with inflation and land over in China dropping like a rock. There's people not paying their payments over in China. I think it's up to like 41% of the property owners aren't paying back their loans because they haven't been able to get their properties built. So they're not paying the loans back. The real estate market over in China is plucked big time. The government is propping it up big time. So all that capital, all of that non-realized rent or like mortgage payment, apparently, right? Apparently, a lot of people are putting it in Bitcoin. Here's my boy Robert Dunn with some great info. I heard about this. China banks are converting savings accounts into real estate investment accounts. They're literally bailing out the real estate with savings accounts of the Chinese people. You talk about a bail-in, that's a bail-in. Because they're in deep shit. We have ADA Austin 10 times worse than 2018. I completely agree. Completely agree. We aren't because we're in cryptos. This is not financial advice. Not financial advice. But if which I do, if I was making an income and I had extra cash, I'd be putting it into Bitcoin. I had a wonderful conversation with a young lady yesterday. I won't say her name. Her and her husband sold their house at the top of the market. Now they're living in a rental. So they got about $1 million cash sitting there. So she sent me a note over on Patreon, and she's like, hey, can you give me a call real quick? Or can I talk to you? I just got a few questions. So I had a few minutes, and I reached out and I called her, and she's like, we got cash. We don't want to keep it at the bank. And her and her husband, they got Bitcoin, they got silver, very obviously very intelligent people. And this is pre my conversation with my New York guy. And I flat out told her, I said, look, if I had $1 million, I'd go a quarter silver and probably 3/4 in friggin' Bitcoin right now. That's what I would do with $1 million. Now, since my conversation with my friend up in New York, as exciting as that is on no Bitcoin, I still think I would allocate a chunk over in silver just to kind of cover my ass a little bit. But a majority, yes, I would put it. Hang on a second. Someone's asked, well, should they buy DIVI? I think they own a couple of DIVI nodes already. I don't know for sure. I'm having another call with them next week. I'll ask, because I agree with that. Run a theta, get you some DIVI, get you some theta, run a theta node, run a DIVI master node, make some income off of your capital. It's there's so much going on with Bitcoin right now, and the adoption rate is just off the damn charts. And we have some of the news that is coming out of El Salvador, Puerto Rico. Watch out for Puerto Rico. There's something going on in Puerto Rico with cryptos. I got a buddy down there. He's actually doing a little research for me. There was And here's kind of the back on it. There's an investment group that was just formed in Puerto Rico. And it's like a shadow group. But they're doing something in Puerto Rico with Bitcoin. And apparently, according to an over-the-counter I know, they're lining up funds for some big buys. Now, there's speaking of Ethereum Classic, there is a group working with Ethereum Classic because of everything going with Ethereum. It's this is the type of environment, and I'm telling you guys, there's a link. Oh, please do this. Please, I've said this 1,000 times. Even if you don't plan on purchasing any Bitcoin right now, there's a link under here for an over-the-counter called Caleb and Brown. Even if you don't plan on purchasing any Bitcoin right now, click that link and open an account at Caleb and Brown. I'm telling you now, folks, Coinbase, Kraken, a lot of these retail exchanges are getting drained of Bitcoin. You're going to need a place like Caleb and Brown to purchase and sell your cryptos. If you want to sell, there's not a lot of people wanting to sell, but if you're looking to sell or buy, when this market runs up again, Coinbase is going to shut down because the liquidity over on Coinbase Pro is only about, on average, is only about 1,000 Bitcoin. That's the liquidity over on Coinbase Pro. Now, the liquidity on Binance, on average, you're looking about 3,000 Bitcoin worth of liquidity every day. You know, it fluctuates, but on average, about 3,000. So when this run up happens, when these people are front running, they're already talking about the halving in a year and a half or something. They're already talking. These are corporations. Now, for those of you that were around in 2017, 2018, do you remember the run-up? The run-up of the halving of 2016. Then the run-up to the halving of 2020. They're already front-running the halving that comes in 2 years. That's because these corporations are on 5-year plans. And the historical report, like I was saying earlier, right? Thank you, Phil C. Right. Remember, right now, With every block resolution, 6.5 Bitcoin are released right now. After the halving in a year and a half, or like I think it's a year and a half now, the Bitcoin rewards will be cut in half and be 3.25. That means every hour, think about, what do you think the price of corn would be or oil will be if they said, oh, hey, guess what? We're cutting the supply in half. And we're going to hold that supply for 4 years. The price of oil would skyrocket. Well, now and this is key, folks, this is key. The financial system now views Bitcoin as a more preferred asset than land. And the supply of land is about to get cut in half. These people are losing their brains. Yes, absolutely. All right. We have Crypto Sherpa. What's going on, Paul? How you doing, brother? Hey, look around Florida for a place. Listen to this. Ethereum rewards per day were just cut from 13,000 to 1,600 ETH. That's what? That's like a 90% drop. 90% drop. My friends, yeah, exactly. Check this out, right? Right now, 936 Bitcoin are created right now every day. In a year and a half, that's cut in half. These people are front running, and yes, God, I love my listeners. All right. Yes. Exactly. BTC is now a tier 1 asset. If you're in the financial system, you know what that means. Tier 1 asset is, I think there's only like 3 or 4 of them. Tier 1 is cash, land, and now Bitcoin, and treasuries, I think. But yeah, so now Bitcoin is up there with treasuries. We are hitting the big time, folks. Yes, also gold is a tier 1 asset. We are hitting the big time, folks. And anybody who doesn't understand what's going on, look at the markets too. Hey, girls, go get you some yoga, baby. That's right. You do some double dog down or whatever the hell it's called. This This is a fundamental shift in the world economy. And remember, and I haven't even talked about this, Russia announced starting next year that Bitcoin is a preferred trade asset for um, 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 exports. Did you hear what I said? Russia, as of January 1, is labeling Bitcoin as a premier asset, or God, what they call it? Um, a preferred asset trade in exports. Can you say buy oil? The only other preferred assets that Russia has is gold, the ruble, and now Bitcoin. So, oh, and yes, settlement. Big, my God, my listeners are friggin' geniuses. Yes. So that's Russia saying we want Bitcoin as a contractual settlement layer. If you know anything about world trade, every contract has to have a settlement asset, whether that's the US dollar or gold. Now, Russia and wink, 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 China's moving this way, folks. Russia is now saying gold, Bitcoin, ruble. That's it. As a contractual settlement layer. That means someone with Russia can write an oil futures contract that settles in Bitcoin. Do you know what that means? That means futures of oil can be settled in Bitcoin in Russia. Do you know how big the futures market is on oil and natural gas over in Russia? Enormous, enormous. And now it can settle in Bitcoin. That's what I'm talking about, folks. This is when Bitcoin hits the big time. Yes, please. Thank you, Tom. Please hit the like and subscribe. Come on, guys. Give me some thumbs up. I'm out here in California slaving my ass off at the pool with cold drinks. I am sacrificing myself out here on the altar of sunshine out in California. Mind you, don't come to California. Don't. No. Go someplace else. Go to Florida. But I'm out here because our friends invited us out here. Hey, hang on a second. There we go. There we go. I had to block the scammer, Bitcoin Ben. The damn scammers. These people just have no soul. There's a special place in hell for these scammers. It's called the Scammers Hell. All right, everyone. I have been ranting for about an hour now. All right. Now, number one, if you did not see the videos from El Salvador, click the link under here and join my Patreon. My Patreon's only $5 a month for the regular tier. Now, if you're an investor or if you're an entrepreneur, you'll want to choose those levels. Or if you're new to cryptos, choose the X22 level. That's where I'm actually working with a lot of friends of X22, helping them learn about cryptos. But if you just want to see some amazing videos from El Salvador and all of my videos, click the link under here and join the Patreon group. So everybody have a great day, and I'm off tomorrow. I will be back live in St. Louis on Monday. Mwah. Love you guys. See you then. Keep kicking ass. Open the account at Caleb and Brown. Get your crypto laptop and get serious, because folks, as we go through this, we got an old school watcher. Hang on one second. Pin has been right since his truck days. Hey, welcome to you, brother. That's an old school. Back when I was broadcasting live from the truck. Love you guys. Everyone have a great day, and I will see you Monday. Enjoy your weekend, guys.